Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. I'm going to warn you, this one is intense, maybe. Might be a rule of thumb, don't record a podcast when you're having a bad day, maybe. You be the judge. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop reviews where you can leave reviews. Share the podcast around, people. Tell your friends. All that sort of stuff. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello. How you doing? You alright? Strap yourself in, kids. This one is going to be a doozy. And probably not in the good doozy. Yeah, I don't know what that means either, but I am depressed, and not in the traditional sense. I'm going to paint a picture with words over the next, what I'm sure will be 9 hours that this podcast is going to run for, because whereas the last few weeks I've been like, oh, I ain't got anything to talk about. And then I've got like 2 things on the list, run for over an hour, that sort of stuff. I imagine a week where the list is chocker, they'll probably be over in 20 minutes. And yet again, the first thing on my list feels like a million years ago. And honestly, with the sort of day that I've had, some of this stuff just doesn't feel as important. And the stuff from today doesn't feel important in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, let's just get in there. Took the dog to the vet. Something I realised today is that I'm starting to feel like a lot of the podcasts I do, my podcast, not other podcasts, a lot of podcasts that I do are starting to become a bit samey. I mean, you know, let's face it, I'm about to talk about taking the dog to the vet. I've never mentioned that one before, have I? Like I said, I'm not in the best of moods. I imagine that's going to reflect. Anyway, took the dog to the vet. Now, this is in the same week that the cat went to the vet. We know this. Spoke about it last week. And I said, watch out, because got to take the dog to the vet. Well, I did. I took the dog to the vet for his vaccination, for his booster, for his whatever you want to call it. I had already looked back at last year to see how much his booster was going to cost so that I could plan accordingly money-wise. Which I thought was, a responsible thing to do. In hindsight, it was a silly thing to do because I forgot about vet tax. Vet tax is you've come in for this, but that's not enough money for us to make off you. We're going to need to make a little bit more. And by a little bit more, we do obviously mean double. So, vaccination and health check. The key there is health check. And my dog is not the healthiest animal out there. As I'm sure we know by this point, he has a recurring ear infection. Don't know what it is. Don't know where he gets it from. Don't know what causes it. It's the same ear. It's, yeah. The other ear is perfect. And as I'm sure you can imagine, the vet can't shed any light on it other than, oh, it's a thing. So they were like, oh, come for his injection. I was like, yeah. How is he health-wise? And I was like, this is one of those situations where if I'm like, he's fine, it's probably going to come back to bite me. So, you know what they say, it's always best to tell the truth. So I was like, his ear is still causing him issues. I was like, it's very up and down. The last medication he was given was not as good as the previous medication he was given. The previous medication he'd been given clears it up, and then it reoccurs later. Whereas the last lot of medication he was given didn't really clear it up. It just made it better, a little bit better. So I was like, I need to preempt, because I've already shot myself in the foot here. So I need to preempt anything that could be coming. So I was like, I just feel if he had another go with the previous medication, that's gonna really sort him out. All right, okay, that's fine. Right, might have dodged a bullet on this one. So then the vet said, has he ever had his ear flushed? And I went, crap. I was like, no, I don't believe he's ever had that done. Oh, okay. Do you have insurance? And as those words left the vet's mouth, I went, oh, wow. So we've gone from the usual hundreds of pounds that you charged me to the bigger numbers. We're talking thousands. That's fantastic. I said, I do have pet insurance, and I've recently just renewed it. So then she needed to know who my pet insurance was with. I told her, and yeah. She's like, look, we'll give him another go around with the previous medication. I was like, sweet. Doing the mental maths in my head. While she's doing this, she cleaned his ear out. She was like, however, if it doesn't sort out, if it reoccurs, probably time to look at flushing his ear, which needs to be done under anaesthetic. There's a word that doesn't cost lots and lots and lots and lots of money. Needs to be done under anaesthetic. And if that's the case, that's I can do you a quote, and then that's a conversation for you to have with your insurance company. And I was like, it's going to cost thousands of pounds. I was just like, all right, okay. So, she'd already given him his vaccination, just jabbed him, job done. She was like, I'll go and get you the medication. She went, after going back, there's the medication. I was like, cool. She was like, you just need to go and pay. So, I know how much the medication costs. He's had it multiple times, and I've had an itemised bill before. I know how much it costs. As we know, I already know how much the vaccination was. Adjusting for inflation, I have a number in my head where we're going to be coming in at. So I was charged over double what I was charged last time, and about 30 quid over what I was expecting to be charged. So as I'm sure you can imagine, really hoping that this medication works so that we don't have to go down the ear flushing route. That would be that would be the preferred option. So yeah. been struggling in the last week. I know that was not going to come as much of a surprise. It seems to be a theme. It seems to have been going on a while. I went out for a run the other morning, and I've reached a point where there is just nothing. There is just nothing there. There's nothing in the tank for running. There's nothing in the tank for getting up. There's nothing. There's no drive. There's no determination. I'm trying to run. There's no energy. There's just nothing. I went out for a run this morning. A little bit later than I'd have wanted to, because didn't get up when I wanted to, because I just can't do it. I just can't face it at the moment. I go out to run. I get about a third of the way through my run. Chest's really bad. Struggling to breathe. Struggling to be able to generate power, energy, anything. Got to the point where I was struggling to breathe that much that I was like, I think I'm going to have to stop. I didn't, because I realised that if I carried on and got to the top of it's not a hill, it's just a steady incline for about half a mile. So once I get there, then it goes flat, and I can run for a bit of flat. And then once I turn another corner, then it's downhill. So if I can do this bit, then it's got a slightly easier bit and then a downhill section for a little while. And that seemed to help things ease up. I have another running related issue that's probably best not discussed. But is causing issues. I've reached a point now where I feel like I can't go too far, which, obviously one of the objectives of running is to try and push yourself that bit further, and I just feel like I can't for reasons that's probably best not gone into. There's a part of me that's like, or maybe when it gets, I don't know. I was about to say maybe when it gets warmer, but I'll just absolutely hate the warmth, running in the warmth. I'll hate that. So I honestly don't know. I honestly do not know. I know it's not fun. I know it's got that bad that I've reached a point of going, I don't want to do this anymore. And some of my workouts have been clocking in at an hour, and getting a lot of those move numbers and things like that. And I'm like, maybe I should just give up running and just focus on working out twice a day and doing that instead. It is just not fun, and it's never been fun. I've never enjoyed it. There have been points in time where I've tolerated it, but it's not. It's now not fun at all. There's just too much that causes problems and issues, and it's just not enjoyable. So there's that. I wrote something down on my list. When I wrote it down, I was like, I'm not even sure I'm going to talk about this. And then a couple of days passed, and I was like, yeah, I think I am going to talk about it. A couple of days passed, and I'm like, maybe not. But I'm going to see how it feels. Let's see how it feels. Do you have those people that you're like, oh man, I really need to get in touch with so-and-so? And you have different levels, different tiers. So, oh man, I really need to contact so-and-so. I haven't spoken to them in a couple of weeks. Oh man, I really should send a message to so-and-so. I've not heard from them in 3 months. Oh man, I wonder what that guy's up to. I haven't seen him in a couple of years now. Has it really been a couple of years? Wow, God, man, I should really, should get together. Wow, has it been 5 years? I really need to send that person a message. Just see how they're doing, see how they're getting on. For me, I have these various tiered levels. Oh man, I haven't spoken to blah since last week. For some people in my life, that is unusual and would need to be rectified. And then, like I say, oh, I haven't spoken to so-and-so for a couple of weeks, I'll just check in. Oh, I haven't spoken to that person for 3 months, a year, 2 years, whatever the length of time is. So, I'd got 2, 3, 4 situations going. One of the people contacted me the other day and was like, hey, and they were like, we got talking about computer game stuff. Some computer game stuff. We were talking about doing some computer game stuff, like stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that kind of, in some way, that kind of saved me a job. Then there's somebody on my list who I'm like, I really need to find out what the crack is there. I just haven't heard from this person. I know they've got a lot going on. I know there's a lot of up and downs, a lot of big stuff going on in their life, and I really should take the time to say, hey, I know you've got a lot going on, but give me a shout when you get a minute. And then I was like, there was somebody I wanted to speak to catch up with, because I know that they've not been having the best of times recently, and I just wanted to say, hey, I hope you're okay. I know that might not be the case, but just wanted to say hi, and I hope you're all right. And then there was a person who years ago now recommended a book to me, and it's taken a good few years, but I'm now reading that book. And reading for me, as I've mentioned before, it's a bit of a slow process, especially these days. It's like sometimes I'll read 2 pages before going to bed, and then be like, I've got to go to bed. It's too late in the day. I've got to go to bed. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll read 5 pages. Like, I've read too much. I need to go to bed. There's very much a feel of I would read a lot more if I could, sort of thing. So this has been going on for weeks. Obviously, I've been reading this book for a few weeks, and I've been meaning to contact. Like I say, you just have these lists. So I took a day, and I was like, I sent a text message to one person, and I sent an email to someone else. I was like, I'm going to do it. There's no excuse. I've got 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to do both right now. And then I can say that I did it. So, send a text message. Hey, how you doing? Hope you're okay. Just wanted to make sure you're all right. Got a message back. Hey, I've been meaning to contact you. Oh, man. Yeah, things are a bit up and down and all this. And then there was just this backwards and forwards. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm okay, yeah. What about this? Yeah, that's fine. What about you? Yeah. The standard, haven't spoken to you in a while. Let's have a quick catch up. Went on for the majority of the day. And that was that. And I was like, I'm really glad I did that. I'm really glad I took the time to contact that person and just check in with them. I sent an email, somebody else, hey, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Take care. Didn't get a response. Didn't get a response that day, didn't get a response that night. I'm heading out the door to go run. I grabbed my phone. I was like, quick make sure everything's ready to go on the phone. Just quickly check my emails. Got an email. And the email was, what do you want? And like I say, I was literally just about to step out the door, and I was like, I don't want anything. I didn't want anything. I wanted to say, hey, I wanted to say, been thinking about being in touch with you because I'm reading a book that you recommended to me. And I thought I'd say, hey, I'm reading that book you recommended. It's good. I'm enjoying it. Feels a bit strange. That sort of thing. But I was literally walking out the door and I was like, wow. I was just like, okay. So I'm like, I go out and I do my run and I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to this. How would you respond to what do you want? So having been out for an hour and doing I came home and did a workout and a couple of hours passed and I was like, I guess I should probably respond to this email, and just went back with, I don't want anything. I just wanted to say, hey, take care. And I was just like, as far as contrast goes, that's probably hitting it pretty well. You contact one person, you say, hey, how you doing? They're like, oh man, I've been meaning to be in touch with you. I'm so glad you sent a message. Yeah, I'm okay, things aren't great, but I'm getting there. Hey, and you've got that conversation. Great. And then what do you want? Nothing. So yeah, it was an interesting time. I guess we'll just move on from that one. Took my eldest climbing. It was one of those situations. I was trying to do the best, which one of these days I might learn that trying to do the best is the worst thing you can do. My father used to say, never try and do the best for somebody else. Only ever try and do the best for yourself. And I was like, that is possibly one of the most selfish things I've ever heard. You should always try and do things for other people. You should always try and help other people where you can. You should always try and do the best you can for other people. And after all of these years, the one thing I can say about all of that is, he might have been right. It never turns out the way you think it's going to. Anyway, I took my eldest climbing. She likes to go climbing. I was like, I'm going to take her climbing. She's going to have 1 solid hour of climbing. We are then going to come home and then we're going to do some family-based stuff. The theory, the plan, every part of it was sound. Right up until the point it wasn't. That's not what this is about. So I said, I'm not going to climb. You just need to get a solid hour of climbing in. That's all you need to worry about. I'm not going to climb because I feel that's going to be a detractor. So you just crack on. Obviously, in hindsight, I should have absolutely put a pair of shoes on and got up a wall. Anyway, we weren't there for an hour. We were there longer. There was it was very much the theme of the last few days is everything's an absolute shit show. So I'm like, right, I want you to try and do one of the climbs of the next level up from where you are now. Which she did. And the person we were with said, oh man, that was amazing. I hope you got it on video. And I was like, yeah, I hope I got it on video as well. I didn't, obviously. So I was like, look, you just go and do that one and I'll video it. And she couldn't do any of the others. And I went, man, I really wish I'd have videoed that first one. But there was a point where I was watching and she tried to do something. She tried to do something that was a little bit more advanced than where she is necessarily at. And she couldn't do it. And the person we were with was like, no, it's like this. Let me show you. And they did it. And she went back and she tried. And she managed to do it. And I was watching and I was like, I've said to a few people, I was like, this could be her origin story. It's like when she's being interviewed on TV, and when she's just won the gold medal for being the best climber in the world. And then they interview her, and they're like, how did you get started in this? And she's like, well, my dad and his friends used to take me climbing when I was little. And I just loved it, and I just practiced at it, and I got better at it, and now I'm the best climber in the world. That'll be enough for me. And I have this thing, I'm happy for them to do anything that they want to, as long as they try and they give it their all. And I was like, this could be it. This could be what we look back on and say. Where I say to her, I remember the day where I realised that this was going to be, your calling in life. I was having a conversation with somebody about this at the time we were at the place. And they were like, yeah, because, you got to look at the alternative. The alternative is either you do, something like this, or you end up sat behind a desk working in an office. And I was like, yeah, if you have the opportunity to do something creative, you should absolutely do that. So, took the dog for a walk. It's a common occurrence, happens at least twice a day in this house. This was an evening walk. And literally 2 minutes, maybe not even that, 1 minute into our evening walk, we bumped into a couple of our dog walking friends. They had their 2 dogs and an additional dog, a different dog. Now then, from having a conversation with these people, I'm pretty sure that this is their child's dog, which I imagine has come to stay. And this third dog was very interested in my dog. Was like, hey, how are you doing? What are you up to? We could be buddies. We could be friends. And they were like nose to nose, saying hello. And then they separated. Like the other dog was like, well, I've said hi now. I'm going to go about my business. And the dog took a few steps back. My dog, being my dog, was like, hey, I thought we were talking. And then the other dog went absolutely ballistic. Like, it was like, get away from me, you man. And my dog, who is not he's a bit of a scaredy cat. He gets scared of he's scared of everything. He went, oh my God, what the hell? And decided to fling himself away from this situation. And unfortunately for me, my leg was in the way. And I felt my lower leg and knee bend backwards. And I went, oh my God. Oh wow. That's pain. To the point where the other person of the two people walking the dog literally went, anyway, we'll leave you to get on. And they walked away. And I went, I think I'm going to be sick. I was in so much pain. I was like, I think I'm genuinely going to be sick. I actually think I might pass out. And I tried to work out what the best solution at this point was. And I was like, I think I need to go home. I like round the corner from the house. The dog's going for a dog walk. And I'm like, I actually think I need to go home. But that driving force of, but the dog needs a walk. I was like, I'm going to have to try and walk this freaking dog. So I hobbled my way around this walk, got home. I had to put my knee in my running support for the entire evening and the next day, just to try and hold the whole thing together. I think it might. I think it honestly might have helped. But wow, that was painful. Let's say. We have had a birthday in our house. Today is, we've had a birthday today. It's, oh man. Me and birthdays have history. Me and other people's birthdays have history, especially. I have ruined more birthdays in my life than I don't know what to tell you. Now, largely I think that's because I've been told that. And largely I was told that by the same person. I think it's some sort, there's a little bit of self-fulfilling prophecy going on. So, this birthday, I'm an adult, the other person is an adult. And I'm just like, hey, is there any chance we can skip a percentage of the birthday stuff? Because I'm really struggling to see what the point is. You know, when you have to wrap a present that someone found themselves, bought themselves, had delivered themselves, they then give that item to you and you just give them some money. But society dictates that you're supposed to then wrap that gift. For what? What is the purpose there? I would like to outlaw all wrapping paper and all cards. I think it's the height of waste. Here, take this bit of paper, take this item, stick it in that paper, stick it down with sellotape, and moments later that paper's going to be torn off and it's going to go in the bin. Is it the true definition of waste? It was a combination of things. I can't get my head round, let me wrap the thing you bought yourself. So I didn't do that. Then I couldn't find the birthday card, because I did do birthday cards this year. I was like, I can't find my birthday card. So the birthday, the person whose birthday it was said, I know where it is. It's on the dining room table. Like, all right, okay, cool. That's fun. So if you take all of that stuff away, a collection of things happened today where I was like, happy birthday. So, oh man. Went out this morning to celebrate. As is always the case in our house, everything was behind. That's not true. It's not always like that. Today it was. There'd been a lot of wiggle room given. And good job too, because everything takes, you're like, oh, this will take 2 minutes, and then 15 minutes later you're like, where did that 15 minutes go? It's very much like that. So set off later than intended, got there later than intended. It is what it is. But you know, we went, we did birthday celebration, and then we came home. And the idea was that my son was going to have a sleep that lasted 10 minutes. So I was like, right, okay, well, let's go out and really seize the day, really capitalize. I was like, we'll go to 3 places. So I was like, look, I've got some games. I'm going to trade these games, and I'm going to get a new game. And I looked up online a couple of places that I know that do that trade games. I was like, right, I've got an idea of how much these games are worth, so I know how much I might have to pay to get a new game. Job done. So we went to the first stop, which was, might as well go and try and trade these games in. When I was like, I'm just wondering if you can tell me how much these games are worth on trading. And the person was like, this first one, I was like, oh, this is the big one. This is the heavy hitter. I know that this guy's worth a lot of money. I was like, we will give you £8 for this. And in my head I went, that's funny, because before I left the house I checked online and it was worth 23. Cool. I was like, here's the next one down on the list. Not a heavy hitter, but still, you know. Already checked it out. I knew it was worth, I think it was 20. We'll give you £7.50 for this. Alright. And then the next one, I was like, well, this one's worth like, I think it was like £13. They're like, we'll give you £7 for this. And they told me how much it was. And they're like, oh, have you got the loyalty thing? I was like, yeah, I do. They're like, oh, we'll give you another 10% on top. So that's like another, £2. And like, you've offered me a third of what I know these games are worth. And the deficit between what you're offering me and the game that I was going to buy is so monumental that I can't even comprehend paying that kind of money. And the guy was like doing this thing where he was like joking whilst also being serious, whilst also being like, I know it's not great, but at the same time it is what it is. And I'm stood there going, yeah, but it's not, is it? And I went, cool, I'll keep those games then. I'll see you later. So that was our first stop. Our second stop was to go and get some food, like a little nice little birthday treat. Went into a well-known restaurant who will, for the purposes of this, have to remain nameless. Use the screens because nobody works tills anymore. Use the screens, did the screens, ordered this, that, and the other. I wasn't gonna have a meal. I was like, oh, just get me a side order. So there was side order, a meal, and then like a smaller meal. Waited far too long for food. Honestly, it was super oppressive being in there. It was really uncomfortable being in there. Left. I was like, we'll go outside. It was kind of a nice day. We'll go outside, have something to eat. So what I had ordered came with bacon on. So, being the massive vegetarian that I am, was like, well, they're no use to me. So I had to swap with one of the others. Opened the first food item, and I went, I can safely say that is the single most depressing meal item I think I've ever seen. So there was that. Opened the next food item, which was similar but different. And I was like, oh my God, look at that. That's enough to make you want to jump out of a window, that is. I was like, this could be the most depressing meal I've ever been a part of. I was like, it looks burnt while simultaneously being dry as a bone, whilst also looking like it's been thrown against a wall, whilst also just like it's the sort of thing you'd want to give as someone's last meal as a massive middle finger. So I'm stood. I'm still reeling from the kick in the teeth on the game front. Then we had to go into, like I say, it was a super oppressive environment, to then get what has hands down got to be one of the most depressing meals I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was... So the first food item went back in the bag immediately, almost immediately, with the dog can have that when we get home. So, 2 down, 1 to go. Into the coffee shop we go. I went. And I can hear... So I read on the sign that said, just to make you aware, we've only got 1 coffee machine working. So I was like, okay, so everything's going to take a lot longer than normal. And it already takes a really long time. That's going to be fun. Go in the queue. The person in front of me was like, oh, can I have this? And the person serving said, oh, I'm really sorry, we haven't got any milk apart from milk. And soya. We don't have, and they then listed the 900 different milk options and was like, saying to the person, I'm sensing that this might be a bad thing. And the person was like, oh, it's the absolute end of the world. And I'm like, cool, this is fun. I then ordered my drinks. and then waited 20 minutes whilst the person who I want to use the word who was making the drinks loosely. They were essentially hitting the drinks with a hammer until it looked something like what I'd ordered. What made this situation even better was one of the drinks I ordered wrong. So there's that. So that's on me. But the person who was quote unquote making the drinks didn't know how to make any of the drinks. So was essentially learning to make these drinks from scratch with help. 20 minutes to eventually get the drinks. I walked out carrying my drinks, got in the car, I came home with my games, with food that I've paid money for, which I then gave to the dog, and drinks that I ordered wrong and took far too long to make. And I went and sat at the dining room table and was like, I guess I'm just done. I guess this is it for me. I'm never going to that restaurant again. I don't think I can do the coffee thing anymore. I haven't had a cup of coffee served to me from a well-known coffee shop in under 20 minutes. In that long, I can't even begin to tell you. Add to that yesterday went out for the day. Went to a place that was serving coffee from like one of those, like just a big tank boiling water thing. Serving coffee out of that. It's one of the best cups of coffee. It's one of the best cups of coffee I've had in ages that I've paid money for. So much so that I drank it and went back and got another one immediately. And it took about 13 seconds to serve. I think it cost me £2. I came home, I was like, okay, so what we're saying here is, never going back to that restaurant. Can't get computer games anymore. And can't even get a cup of coffee. And I was just like, so this is it, yeah? This is where we're at. This is the society that we dreamed of. Everything's too expensive. Service is shit. Quality is garbage. Enjoy. My youngest daughter's sitting there like, it's okay, Daddy. It's okay. And I'm like, I don't know that it is. It's depressing, is what it is. And she's like, it'll be all right. I'm like, and I get it. I get it. I really do. It's, first world problems. It's small at the end of the day. And honestly, I could stop this podcast now and restart it and talk for an hour on what exactly it is that I'm getting at. Because I know what it sounds like. Believe me, I do. But at this point in time, I'm looking like I'm going to have to completely reshape my life. I was saying to Leanne this evening, I was like, this is why people buy caravans. This is why people go bird watching. This is why people just step away from life, I guess. Like I say, there's probably more of an explanation required here. But yeah. Update on the House of Sickness. Everybody's still sick. You'll be pleased to hear. My son has decided to amalgamate all of the illnesses in the house into one body. So is now just like, hey, I've got everything wrong with me. I am still dealing with the cough that will never go. Leanne is still dealing with the cough in a lot worse ways than me. My youngest daughter is, I guess she's got the cough, she's got the runny nose, all of that. If I'm honest, I'm pretty sure my eldest is like, I think there's something wrong with you all, because I'm fine. What's nice is that the animals are also getting in on it. One of the cats is unwell. I don't really know what the situation there is. Obviously, with going to the vet, and the dog's got an ear infection. I've started thinking that we need some sort of exorcism. That's not a joke. I'm pretty sure that there's either we're being poisoned, which honestly wouldn't surprise me, or it's some sort of demon possession. That's the week. We can talk entertainment stuff. I finished The League, which was a sad time. But it is what it is. I need to find something new to watch now. I watched some movies. Some good, some not. As with the last couple of week or so, I was watching the Expendables trilogy. I watched the third one. The third one felt very much like just like a why kind of thing. Like, why did we need this? Not like, why did we need this film? Like, why did we need to take it in this direction? Why did we have to go with, let's get rid of the old guys and get a load of new guys, young guys? Very, but why? I realised the other day that I'm pretty sure this is probably the third time of me reviewing these films. Probably don't need to go into too much in-depth sort of stuff. I've written a couple of things down here. I think I've written them in the wrong order, which is weird. Oh no, I think I started that. Right, okay. Anyway, so that's Expendables. I probably don't need to go into Expendables 3. Me and Leanne had a conversation about something to watch, movie-wise, and I rattled off a load of stuff. And then I was like, hey, I want something we can watch. I'd had it recommended a while ago. Then it sort of died off, and then I've kind of had it re-recommended to me recently through listening to a podcast. I told her what it was. She was on board. So we watched Werewolf by Night. Because I was told that it was very good. And then I'd listened to a podcast, and the podcast spoke highly of it. And that was that. And what it turned out was that I was lied to. Because it's only 50 minutes. It's done by Marvel. Very quick story of a load of hunters, like monster hunters, get together. They're all fighting for a gem thing that's got powers. So it's who's the best hunter? Catch the monster, and you're the best hunter. However, spoiler, there's a twist. And the twist is that one of the hunters isn't what they seem to be. The one thing I felt at the end of it, having watched it, was I could have happily not watched it. It was very much one of those situations where I was like, I see what you've tried to do here, but I don't really care. We've gone with let's do ham horror, even though we're Marvel. There are some superhero things involved, so on and so forth. But it largely just felt super pointless. The only way I can describe it is what I said. I didn't feel in any way enhanced having seen it. I didn't feel any way better off other than being able to say I've seen it. What I will say is this: it's 50 minutes long, and you should give it a go and make your own mind up. That's how that works. So, I think everybody has that thing, where somebody's like, hey, I've never seen Goodfellas. I've never seen Star Wars. I've never seen Shawshank Redemption. I've never seen, and there's a lot of like what people would consider classics, and then somebody's going to tell you they haven't seen it. And there's the film that everybody's seen, but somebody's going to say, I've never seen it. And then there's like people who really enjoy and embrace movies, and even those people have films where they go, do you know something? I've never seen that. Now I have a list of films I've never seen that I really should have. Film that you've seen like 3 minutes of, film you've seen like half of, film you started watching in a hotel room, then you've no idea what it was called, but it ended up being really good. That kind of thing. A film on my list that I've been like, I really should watch that film, was the film I Am Legend. So, flicking through Amazon the other day, and it was there. I was like, hey, I've never seen that film. And it was on Prime, and I was like, hells yeah, we're watching this. Now I understand that being a fan of Will Smith these days is not the cool thing to be. However, I will say this. I've always liked Will Smith from all the way back to The Fresh Prince. And I followed him and his career all the way through. Some stuff that I haven't bothered with. I've still never seen Wild Wild West. However, I love a Bad Boys. Men in Black. I've seen all those, that kind of thing. So I've kind of, I've ridden with him. I've died with him. Bad Boys for life. I, in no way, shape or form, agree with or condone anything that he did at the Oscars. And I also feel that he's been going off the rails for a while. I feel it was like the peak of him just going a little bit crazy, as you would with some of the things that he's gone through. Having said that, when you sandwich those two things together, I was like, I'm not a big fan of you at the moment, but I also want to see this film, so let's do this. I haven't seen the film that Will Smith won an Oscar for. What I can say is this. He should have won an Oscar sooner. Because he should have won an Oscar for I Am Legend. His acting in that film is amazing. Bear in mind, barring him and the dog, they're the only man and dog in that film for 60-70%, barring the flashbacks and the stuff at the very end, spoilers, he's like the only person in it. And it's a roller coaster. It's a real roller coaster. It's got so many different aspects. Dealing with loneliness. Being the last man alive. One man's relationship with his dog. And what happens when that goes wrong. honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed that film. I wish I'd seen it sooner. Kind of wanted to watch it again. Some of the special effects are not amazing, and they're extensive at points. There are some CG animals going on, which didn't look brilliant. And the bad guys, I suppose you'd call them, were mostly CG and didn't look great. One thing I can say is this. I had to Google something. I had to look something up about that film, because I was left pondering at the end. And no spoilers, but if you're wondering, if you sit down and watch it and you've never seen it and you're wondering this, who set the trap? I've Googled it, and apparently the monsters set the trap, because they've spent X amount of time watching him do the same thing. That'll make more sense if you've seen it, and it'll make more sense if you sit down and watch it off the back of this. Really good film. Really enjoyable. I thought Will Smith was really good in it. I honestly think it could be one of his best roles. I think it's definitely a film that's tested his acting. The dog was great, although one of the things about it was the way they set the dog up. I felt like, because there was like a big plot point that was centered around the dog, I found it to be not super believable with the way they set the dog up. Again, no spoilers. But yeah, if you've never seen it, it'll make more sense if you sit down to watch it. It's on Prime at the moment. Might not be by the time you listen to this, though. I had one of the worst film experiences recently, because my eldest has been working her way through a variety of different franchises. One of the big ones being, she's been working through all the DC films. The problem was that drew us closer and closer to having to watch Wonder Woman 1984, which, as we know, is one of, if not the worst film ever made. So when I said to her, "Oh wait, what do you want to do this evening?" and she said, "Well, it's time to watch Wonder Woman 1984," a huge part of me died inside, because I went, "Oh, but it's the worst film ever made." But then I was like, "Hey, no. Might not be as bad as I remember." So we sat down and we watched it. First thing, I forgot just how long that film is. It's over 2.5 hours long. Secondly, no, I hadn't misremembered it. It is honestly one of, if not the worst film ever made. That is by no means an exaggeration. It is truly awful. And third and final point, I said to my eldest when it finished, I said, "So what did you think to Wonder Woman 1984? And she said, "Yeah, I really liked it. It was really good." So she's dead to me. No, there was a point where she was like, "I mean, maybe there was a bit where they could have changed this to make it a little bit better." And I went, "What, the whole film? Because it's terrible." And she laughed and brushed it off. I was trying to work out if I'd have rather had nails pushed into my eyes for 2.5 hours. I was really on the fence about that one. So, computer games. As with what I was saying before, you might need to go elsewhere for your computer games, people, because I ain't going to be playing anything new for a long time. But anyway, I have been playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint. In a weird way, I've been hating myself for liking it. I do think that part of the reason I like it at the moment is circumstantial, shall we say. I've also been playing the Division 2 DLC, Warlords of New York. It's weird. The way it's set up is strange. It gives you the impression that there's like these 4 like generals that need taken out, and then you can go after the big bad guy. But they don't set it up that way. They set it up in a way where it's like, take this guy out, then this guy out. Then you think you're going to take the 3rd guy out, but no, you're going to go after the 4th guy. But then we're not going to tell you how to get the 3rd guy. And hey, go do a side mission. To add to the fun of that, the enemies and their difficulties are all over the place. There's like an area where the bad guys, the enemies, are very much fire-based. They throw firebomb type things. They use flamethrowers. The majority of their weapons are fire. And they were super difficult to deal with. Whereas there was like a boss, and it was this boss, he can make holograms of himself. Okay. It was one of those things. He'd make like 5, 6, 7, 8 holograms, but only one of them shoots at you. So, I don't want to spoil anything, but that's the one that you should be shooting. Then there was another bad guy, another like boss. I didn't even realise I'd fought and ultimately killed until afterwards. They were like, "Oh yeah, you took care of that guy." I was like, "Did I?" So it's super all over the shop. It's hard. It's not. There's been a lot of points where I've been wandering around not knowing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like a lot of times they don't really explain stuff, and you spend a bit of time wandering around, which is fine if you've got the opportunity to do that. But if you're being shot or bombed or grenaded or whatever, it's kind of just like, I don't need this right now. I need one or the other. I need to either be getting shot or finding a switch that's not very well signposted. It's fun. It's playable. It's enjoyable. One thing that has been a little bit annoying is you kill the generals, and they drop like special weapons. So you go and you pick it up. It's like, oh, what do I get? And it's like, hey, you can fire a sticky grenade. It's like, okay, but is it as good as my drone or my auto turret? Probably not. So I'm not gonna bother with it. Okay. You've killed this boss. Oh, what do I get for that one? A fire grenade. Yeah, that's not going to be as good as my drone or my auto turret. So I'm not going to use it. So it's been a bit like that. So at the moment it's a strong 7 out of 10. Is what I can say. Something I will say, not about the Division 2 DLC, but it does actually connect in some way. I went to play Breakpoint one night. I was like, I played Division last night, I'm going to play Breakpoint tonight, alternate, chop and change, blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't get into it because it kept telling me that my connection to the server had been lost. So I couldn't play the game that I play single player. And I was like, I don't understand what is happening right now. This is a game that's made by Ubisoft. So I was like, fine, I'll play The Division instead. Put The Division on, connected, got in, and away we go. The Division is also made by Ubisoft. And Breakpoint told me it couldn't connect to the Ubisoft server. And The Division let me in straight away. So I was like, this is the problem with these newfangled games. This is what we have to deal with nowadays. Oh, you can't play this because it can't connect to the server, but it can connect to a different server, so away you go. Like I was saying, I don't really know what to tell you as far as new gaming content is concerned, because I can't imagine I will have any new gaming content anytime soon. I apologise, but it is what it is. That's it from me. I will catch you next time. So there you go. What do you think of that? It was a bad day. What can I tell you? I'm sure the next one will be much better. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. If I can just ask you before you go, if you haven't clicked the subscribe button, please do. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to the podcast. You will also keep up to date with new episodes. Share the podcast around, subscribe, and reviews. If you enjoyed the podcast, leave us a review. You can also check out the website, it's thecookiecast.com. There's links for social media, so you can get in touch with myself or the other guys. Or you could email us. Let us know how you're getting on. Let us know what you're doing. That sort of stuff. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
This is a Cookie Cast production.